Hi everyone, welcome to Parenting in Hindsight, where we explore what parents and kids wish they had known sooner. I'm Jenny and I'm here with my daughter Maggie.
Hi.
We decided to start this podcast because raising kids today is complicated. Now that my kids are in their 20s, they've graduated from college and are living as adults in the real world, we're looking back in hindsight at their upbringings and what went well, what didn't, and what they remember about their childhoods. Our hope is that these conversations will help other parents and kids to understand each other a little bit better, to ultimately create positive relationships during often challenging times. For our first episode, we're going to talk about things that parents and children can do over the summer, since it's June and kids are out of school and there's not that routine of going to school every day. So this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I was a stay-at-home mom for about 10 years and I was always struggling with how to entertain my kids all day. And I know that this can be even more challenging for working parents and for all of us who are struggling with the challenges of our kids and their electronics and their phones. In addition, we recently took a trip to the Outer Banks with our extended family, and I was really surprised to see that the younger generation, so in my family this was 8-year-olds to 13-year-olds, were on their phones for hours and hours every day when we had the ocean and the beach right outside our front door. So we thought this was a great time and really important for us to tackle this topic for families today. So this is a wake-up call for me, and we hope that we can share some ideas for how to make summer fun for your kids, how to keep them entertained, and how to help build your family relationships, especially over these summer months. So we're going to break this down into age-appropriate suggestions, and we're going to start with preschool and elementary school, and we're going to share ideas that are free and also some create a list of things to find. Okay, let's start with preschool and elementary school, and we'll start with the free ideas. So the first one that we wanted to talk about is scavenger hunts. And these can be in your backyard, in your neighborhood, or even in a local park. And you can make a list up front with your kids about what they want to go in search of. So these could be plants or bugs, or you can take little miniature army men or Disney figurines and hide them around. There's actually a really good app called iNaturalist that will help kids to identify plants and bugs. You can hold your phone over it and make it a really educational learning opportunity as well. The second idea is the backyard splash zone. Maggie, maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, just setting up a sprinkler and a hose, and that would entertain me for hours, especially with some neighbor friends or siblings or just the parents, and putting on a bathing suit on a hot summer day and just getting wet was super entertaining.
Yeah, hook up the hose to a sprinkler, maybe get a slip and slide, or you can use garbage bags, get some bubbles out.
Oh yeah, tarps.
Yep, tarps, anything just to make a backyard splash zone. Other things you can do in the backyard or even on your driveway, you can do chalk drawings.
Classic.
Yep, classic. Teach your kids how to play hopscotch. Parents, I know remember these days from when we were kids. Make drawings. You can make challenges up for the kids, like the best flower drawing or whatever. Turn it into a competition. Kids love that. The next idea is Vacation Bible School, and you do not have to belong to a local church to do this. Churches love to invite all kids from the community to come attend their Vacation Bible School, and these start typically at age 3 and they go up to like 3rd or 4th grade depending on the church. So this can be a really fun way to give your child a couple hours in the morning, or most programs are in the evening, to get out and meet some other kids their age. And Maggie, you're volunteering at a local church now. Do you want to talk about that and what it's like for you?
Yeah, it's been really fun to see the little kids on the first day. Some of them were so sad when their parents were leaving. Some of the parents weren't leaving at first. The kids were hugging them, they were crying. And I could tell that the parents weren't quite sure what they should do. Should they stay? Should they take their kid and leave? But in the end, both specific parents I was watching this happen to left, especially when they could get their kid to walk away, not look at them for a second. They ran out the door, and by the end of the 2-hour vacation Bible school, the kid had no recollection that they were sad. They were so happy to be there. The second day, there were no tears.
Aww.
Everybody left their parent. Way easier. The transition was way easier from day one, and everybody already made friends with everyone in their grade, and you could tell some people were friends from the year before, or some people were friends from going to school with them or neighbors with them. So just it really seems like it entertains the kids. And the one I'm volunteering at is 6 to 8 p.m. and we're getting them running around. And so I can only imagine when they go home to bed, they're very tired.
Yeah, they're tired and ready for bed when they get home. So that's another great idea. And then the last free idea is the library. So this is great on a rainy day or when it's just too hot and muggy out over the summer. Take your kids to the library, let them walk around and explore the section of books that they're interested in, and get them their own library card. Gives them a sense of responsibility and independence and pride, and gives them that responsibility to make sure that they get their library books back on time, or they're going to have to pay a little fine potentially, depending on your library. So this was really great. They often have story times, so you can go sit in a circle with your child, or your babysitter can take them and do this, or you're a grandparent. It's a great way to get the kids out of the house on a rainy day and do something fun in the community.
Yeah, definitely.
So now we're going to talk about some low-cost ideas. So since it's summer, we always think about swimming and pools. So if your child doesn't know how to swim yet, please teach them how to swim. There are resources for that are very low cost through the Red Cross or the YMCA or a local community center. Get your kids some swim lessons, because this really creates a foundation for when they're in middle school. You'll be able to take them and drop them off at the pool and let them hang out with their friends all day and swim. So I know that's something that you all did.
Yeah, I remember doing swim lessons at the YMCA and kicking on a little paddle board and hoping they would let us go down the slide at the end of class. So definitely thankful I know how to swim now too.
Yeah, it's a tremendous life skill, and the earlier they learn to swim, the more fun that they will have. Next up is movies. So another great rainy day idea. So a lot of your local movie theaters will have discounted movies during the summer, multiple times a week. So I know AMC in particular has a program called AMC Summer Movie Camp, and that's free for the movie and significantly discounted concession treats as well. I think, Maggie, you recently went to the movies and saw that a different chain was doing something like that.
Yeah, our local movie theater is doing $1 matinee weekday movies over the summer, and I definitely have highlights of this as a kid, wanting to go, hoping we would get a little cup of popcorn, and just watching a movie was a great rainy day activity.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the last idea for this age group is bowling. So another great rainy day idea if needed. Most bowling alleys, or several bowling alleys in your area, will have a kids bowl free program. And what this does is it gives you 2 free games per person every single day of the week. I mean, that's huge. You can do this 2 or 3 times a week if your kids get into bowling, and then all you have to do is pay for the shoes. So it's really fun, and even 3, 4, 5-year-olds can go bowling. There are certain aids to help them. I don't know if you remember, Maggie.
Yeah, like a little dinosaur, or some of them weren't designed to be anything other than the device itself. It just lets you push the bowling ball down and you put bumpers up, so with no skill at all, anyone can bowl.
It's a great family activity, and also great for a babysitter to take kids to go do this.
Definitely.
So now let's move on to middle school. So I know parents watching this or listening to this is a really tough age group. So this is where the phone and electronics are really top of mind for these kids. So they're very used to being on their phones and lots of screen time. So it's more of a challenge for parents to figure out how to break that habit and get them away from that. So starting with the free ideas, a parent's helper. So this is for kids who want to get into babysitting. When they're a little bit older, you can start by being a parent's helper. So you can start actually charging for this service, maybe $5, $10 an hour, and you go meet a local family and you just help the mom. Often the parents, mom or dad, the parents are often home when you're there, and you're just helping out. You could even go on trips with the family and just be an extra set of hands. So it's a great way for kids to start learning the fundamentals and challenges of babysitting and start to make a little bit of money. Next up is planning a weekly meal. So when I went back to work, my kids were in middle school, and we created this sort of one night a week. Each kid was responsible for making dinner for the family. So Maggie, why don't you talk about kind of what that meant,
I remember
and how you felt about it?
You asking us to do that, and I remember being a little annoyed. I don't want to have to do that, but remembering that it made a lot of sense. If you're at work all day and I'm at home all day, it makes sense that maybe I help a little bit and make dinner, even if I didn't really want to. And I remember you gave us, my sister and I, recipe books, and we flipped through, and that was my favorite part, to be able to see the picture of the dinner. I'm sure it would work too on Reels or TikTok, so you can visualize the recipe, and it might be a recipe that maybe my parents don't enjoy as much as I did, but that's what I wanted, and I wanted to make it, and anything worked if I was going to make it. So whether that was pasta or a chicken sandwich, and just being responsible for that, and you would oversee it and help, especially at the beginning, a lot of help. But in the end, it definitely was the start of learning how to cook. It wasn't that we didn't learn everything right away. Mm-hmm. And this kind of ended after once the school year started, and we were just as busy as you. But yeah, why not do it over the summer and start to learn those basics?
Yeah, and I think from a parent's perspective, it really helped the dinner time kind of appreciation for the meal, because you were more appreciative of your sister's work and the meal that she had made, and vice versa, than you often were with me and what I had cooked. And what you and your sister made were very kid-friendly meals, and so it was just overall more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, I think I was in 5th and 6th grade when we started doing that, and it went well.
Yep, I remember we had chicken Caesar wraps at the beginning, and spaghetti and meatballs and things like that, and then it got a little bit more advanced as you got comfortable in the kitchen. So for help, there's a great app called Kids Recipes Meal Planner, and it'll help your kids get ideas. So I had given you all cookbooks to look through, but now there's apps for that, and like you said, there's Reels on Instagram to get inspiration for ideas. Next up is planning a family activity. So this is something where you can give your child kind of like a homework assignment to research what they'd like to do. And there's a really cool app called Kids Go Out that you put in your geographic location, and it'll tell you all the things in your area that are around that you can do. Some are free, some are low cost, some do require admission, but you can give your child a budget and a time frame on when you want to go and have them plan an outing for the family.
Yeah, I remember going on lots of bike rides and helping to maybe search and find a local trail, or getting to pick the restaurant if I could find it for dinner, maybe on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I think another thing that you all did at that age, there was a make your own ice cream place where you tour and you look how ice cream's made, and at the end you were making ice cream, and just fun little activities, science museums, things like that. Those are all types of things that are included in the app. So now to a low-cost option, sleepaway camps. So these middle school is a perfect age for this, because they're old enough to be able to go away to sleepaway camp, but they're young enough that they're still going to get really excited about it and think it's fun. They don't have the conflict of having a job to juggle. Okay, next up we're going to move to the low-cost options for middle schoolers, and this is one of my favorites, which is summer camps. So there's all kinds of camps out there depending on what your child is into, whether they're into sports or art, band, adventure camps, coding camps, Girl Scout and a Boy Scout camp, you name it. There's so many camps, and you can sign up for 1 week, 2 weeks, multiple weeks for the summer. These are a lot of fun for kids, and parents gives you a little bit of a break while your children are gone. Maggie, what were some of your favorite camps that you can remember?
I think the first camp I remember going to, I was probably like 8, 9, and it was a day camp at a local college for soccer, and I'm sure it was just the college soccer team who was coaching us, but just seeing older girls and getting to work with them was so cool. The camp, as much as it was for soccer, my highlights I remember were eating at a college cafeteria for the first time, unlimited ice cream machine. One day we got to swim to the pool. One day we had a crazy sock day, and I had a couple soccer teammates who went to this with me, but just meeting so many new friends. Everyone's your age. It was so much fun that I went back at least 1 or 2 more years in a row. And then when you got a little older, I think the option was to sleep over there, which my older sister did for a different sport. But I was so young when I started that wasn't an option. And then I think my first sleepaway camp, it was probably when I was around 10, was Girl Scout camp. And we got to horseback ride, do archery, swim in the pool. So just entertained outside all day. I went with another girl in my Girl Scout troop. So find a friend, see if you can get another friend to sign up with your kid to make them a little less nervous. I think my friend and I shared a bunk bed. So just great memories. I think from age probably 9 to 16, every summer, at least one camp. They got a little more advanced when I got older and going to like actual colleges to really play soccer. Or when I was like 11 or 12, we went to a local ski mountain and did like zip lining and ogo balls and ropes courses. And I did that with a couple friends. So I have great memories from going to camp. If I was nervous, if I didn't want to go, I don't remember that part. Although I do remember the bugs at Girl Scout camp. But besides that, I just remember really connecting with my friends and spending a lot of time outside and seeing lots of different colleges and environments from doing these.
Yeah, and the camps do a great job of entertaining the kids all day long, and there's literally no phone all day. And they don't even want the phone because you're so busy and having so much fun. So speaking of summer camp, as your child is sort of nearing middle school and maybe they're not quite sure about sleepaway camp yet, one way to help them get started is sleepaway camp at Grandma and Grandpa's house, at a grandparent's house, or older friends. Just giving them that exposure to sleeping away from home in someone else's home that they love and you trust, and just creating that sense of independence and fun away from mom and dad, and it gives you all a break too.
Or an aunt, uncle, family, friend, neighbor. Definitely a great way to, even if a relative lives a couple of states away, put the kid on a train or a plane. You can walk them all the way to security and they'll get picked up. You can tell the airline that the kid's traveling alone, they'll have someone. So also just building that independence and confidence to travel, be away from home was really important.
Awesome. I'm glad that you remember this so fondly. So next up is high school. So this one, we don't have a ton of ideas because this is the age group when kids should have a job. Yes. I mean, honestly, once you hit 14, 15, kids, you shouldn't be sitting around on the couch all summer long playing on your phone. You should be out working, whether it's putting flyers in your neighborhood mailboxes to do pet sitting or babysitting or yard work if you're under 16 or 15. But even at age like 14, 15, depending on where you live, you can get a job at an ice cream shop or an amusement park.
I had my first job as 14 years old at the local amusement park, running like the games, like just collecting money for people to play ring toss. And I remember wanting to get that job because when I was 14, the rest of my grade, my friends were 15, and they were all working at the local country club. They were lifeguarding, lots of them lifeguarded at the local like community pools. We're hostess at restaurants. And then when you're 16, I think the jobs you could switch and get a little bit more advanced. But definitely everyone I knew was having a job to make some money. So then like on Friday night, we could go mini golfing or go get ice cream and just have a little bit of spending money. And so that really entertained us during the day. And also, you're not on your phone, you're outside working.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it really helps kids to develop that sense of responsibility and independence. And even if they're not fully ready to start a full-time job, they can work part-time or they can do volunteer activities. So the humane societies in your area are always looking for help. You can do dog walking or wash dishes. You can volunteer at the local library. You can work at these summer camps and be a counselor at a younger age. So there's lots of stuff out there for high school kids to be involved with to keep them entertained.
Definitely.
So what to do this week to get started? So we just shared lots of ideas with you. So pick something, sit down as a family and pick something that your child wants to do. At least one thing this week to get started and get it scheduled. Put it on the calendar, make it happen this week.
Even if they don't want to do it, you're going to do it anyway.
Good point. Even if they say they don't want to do it.
I don't want to cook dinner.
Yeah, or they want to play on their phone, you got to break this habit, and they'll see that these types of things are fun. And parents, don't feel like you have to do this all by yourself. Recruit a grandparent to help you, or a summer babysitter that you may have to help you with your elementary and preschoolers if you need some extra hands. So thanks for listening to our first episode of Parenting in Hindsight. We hope that this has gotten you excited about fun things to do over the summer with your kids. Please like and share this podcast if you enjoyed it.
And comment your favorite summer activity that you remember from a kid, maybe your earliest summer memory.
We would love that. We would love to hear from you all what your favorite memories are. And until next time, remember that the lessons come in hindsight, but the connection starts today.